think we were talking about the stigma behind the meth user or addiction period, but specifically maybe that. I think what I believe and what I've seen is the stigma attached to it is it's not just embarrassment for some. It's it's how they will be perceived, how hard it is to come off of it, having somebody constantly behind them that no matter what won't ever give up on them, but I really don't think it's the stigma that holds them back. I think it's the addiction itself. You have to get to know these people. You have to get to know them and talk with them on a one-on-one basis to really understand when they're off of it and to really understand when they're on it and at their highest moment. Because when they're high and they're really high, obviously they're not going to make a lot of sense. But as they start to come down, everything else starts to make sense to them, and they realize what they do. They realize what they've done. They realize who they've hurt. But they're so far gone, the majority of times that they're so far gone that they see that there's no hope, that they're never going to get out of the situation. And it's because that nobody is there. And I believe that in itself is an absolute plausible ideology of the stigma, and the reason why it's so hard for so many to fight the good fight, to continue instead of just going 1 to 7 days of detox and then just giving up and coming back up on the streets. I believe it's just the fact that even when they think somebody's there, they know somebody's there. It's the loss of the thought of hopelessness and them not being able to do it on their own, because they can't. They can't do it on their own. If you take any amount of time and get to know any one of these, anyone, I don't care if they have a roof over their head, if they've got a 6-figure income, or if they're out on the streets, if you actually take the time out to get to know them during their addiction, they will absolutely let you know they themselves, especially in the middle of it, they didn't even see a way out. And or they can be good with their addiction, where they're at with their addiction, and they're finding who are you to tell them that they have an issue. There are just so many facets to that word stigma. It's not a one size fits all. It's not a one size fits all. They just love and understanding. And somebody that will always be there for them unconditionally, no matter what, no matter how many times. And even then, it's not enough. I don't 100% believe that it's the stigma that keeps them from doing it. It's several things. It's several things that keeps them from going into a rehabilitation center. It's several things that keeps them from wanting to get better. It's several things that keeps them from their families, because it's something they keep recycling in their head. It's a driving force that they're no good. They'll never be any good. It doesn't matter how many times, because you have to work at it. It takes years sometimes, months, years, days, talking to them every day, finally to where they're able to come to you, and they might have a lucid moment and they'll talk to you. And at that moment, you better be ready for it, because that will be the only moment that you will ever receive from that person. And if you're not ready, trust me, I know firsthand, if you're not able to receive that moment, any trust that you've built up, you've lost.